Hello again, and welcome to Show Your Work with Angie Caraway. My name is Matt Hogan, your host, and with me, as always, is my sister and candidate for House District 89 in Collin County, Texas, Angie Caraway. Angie, how are you doing?
Super sparkly. Thanks for asking. How are you doing, Matt?
Oh, gosh. When we do this, do you automatically feel like we have never met each other before? I sincerely forget what to say next. And I was like, oh, wait, I need to ask my sister how she's doing. So I ask you, and then you give me some kindergarten teacher response. And I just think, like, I don't know who you are.
I teach middle school for a reason. That's my sense of humor. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we're going to dive right into this week. You started back to school last week. So I would like to know how your first week back was.
Yes, my first week back was very exhausting and exciting and stressful and all of the things. But I want to tell you about one kiddo, and we're going to call him Steve.
Tell me about Steve.
So on the first day of school, to get to know my kiddos, we play this game called the name game. I buy inflatable globes and we throw them, we gather in a circle and we throw it to the person in the room and we say their name before we throw them the ball. And so we talk about how it's probably helpful to make sure that you're calling the name so that people don't take a globe to the face. This is not your chance to stretch your arm out. Like I give all the things, all the directions to make it successful. And we keep the same pattern and the same, everybody gets one chance so that it helps me learn their names and it helps them learn each other's names. Same way, kids love this game. And Steve, we give it to Steve. Steve will not say a word. I'm like, Steve, it's okay to ask somebody's name if you don't know anyone's name. It's okay to ask, hey, what's your name? Bob. Okay, great. Give Bob the ball. Steve refuses to speak. Steve is the cutest little kid you've ever seen in your life. He just won't speak. And so I would speak for Steve.
I appreciate that he stood his ground.
He stood his ground. He wasn't going to say a word. And I appreciate that because it's the first day of sixth grade and that can be very stressful.
Oh, it's terrifying. Good God, it's terrifying.
I'm not going to push Steve into anything he doesn't want to do on day one. So anyway, we get through the day. Day two comes around. I see Steve in the morning. So I know Steve's on campus. When it comes time for class, there is no Steve. No Steve to be found.
You scared him out of class.
So I asked the kids, I'm like, I thought I saw Steve. Have y'all seen? Yeah, we saw him. He was in the last class with us. Okay. So I opened my door, I happened to see a counselor walking by and I said, hey, I'm missing a kid.
Listen, we got to find Steve ASAP.
Steve is missing. Poor little Steve. So I send the counselor after him and 15 minutes later, I hear Steve's name on the call. They're trying to find God. Steve. Steve, if you're in the building, come see Mrs. So-and-so. So we find Steve. Steve is brought back to my class. Steve was in the classroom next to my classroom, just vibing in somebody's class that he was not supposed to be.
Did he know it was his class, that it wasn't his class?
Steve is so overwhelmed. Like Steve was just vibing. Why the teacher didn't go, what? I mean, I get it because the first couple of days we're still trying to learn.
Yeah. You can't learn 130 kids in one day.
So Steve was returned safely to Mrs. Caraway's class in which you should, and Steve found it. He found his way on Friday. So Steve's going to be fine. I don't want anybody to worry about Steve. I love Steve. Steve is amazing.
I think everyone is going to be inherently worried about Steve going forward at this point. I want to know, did Steve wind up talking?
Steve has yet to say a single word in class. I'll keep you posted.
No, lock it down, man. He has established who he is, and I'd like for him to stick to it. Man, sixth grade, Angie, you know how much we moved when we were kids. Sixth grade was one of the years for us where I got 2 first days in sixth grade. One at one semester and then a second semester was at a different school. And terrifying. Like, I mean, everything is awful. Your body is so awful when you're in the sixth grade. You're just a mess of a little human. Oh, God. I remember being worried about, like, well, this is funny. Like, your hair done the right way. Joke's on you, sixth grade, Matthew.
Same. Sixth grade Angie. Yeah, it was cool.
Did anything wild happen?
No, nothing super wild. Normal, chaotic sixth grade.
And that's a big operation, getting that many kids back in, load ins and load outs and buses. And there's a lot of logistics involved with that. Is that part of what you guys get together in the first few days and your in service days leading up to it?
Yeah, it's a lot of procedural, especially for the new people on campus, because it, like you said, it takes orchestration. Like even our end of the day, it's done in waves. We release the bus riders first, and then the car riders, and then the walkers, and they all go out of different places of the building so that they don't.
Mm.
There's not 1,200 kids at one time trying to go to the same spot.
Well, I think that is a good spot for us to take our first break. So we're going to take a breather and we will be right back. And we are back with Show Your Work with Angie Caraway. Okay, Ange, let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about campaign stuff. This isn't really breaking news, but you had somebody reach out to you last week that said that they had gotten a phone call poll from your opponent in this race, testing some messaging against us, against you. I have two questions for you. I have a personal question and a campaign question. Let's start with the personal. First, when you have a certain type of language used to describe you or your supposed opinions on things, which for the record are not true, does it hurt your feelings? Does it bother you?
It's a good question. It definitely, I feel it. I'm human, but the truth of the matter is that it's just not true. One thing teaching middle school has taught me is to have a thick skin. And so I know the life that I live, and when it's lies, it can't hurt me that much.
Yeah, there is a strength that comes from, hey, I've got the truth. You can disparage me all you like, but ultimately what I have is true and what you're playing with is not. So those are two fundamentally different types of weapons to use. I personally don't like reading that stuff about my sister. It's frustrating, but it's not true. But also it's part of the game. I hate that. Yeah. It's cynical, but it is part of the game.
You know, I teach my kids all the time. My students, we have so many conversations about that type of behavior in middle school. Shocker. You know, I have students that will get so upset. Well, she said this about me. And my one question to them is it true? Well, no. Don't give them that power. If it's not true about you, you know, I try to tell them all the time, I try to get funny because, you know, I'm funny and sarcastic. At least I think I am.
Yeah, you're so funny.
But if they don't pay your rent, you don't pay them attention. Period.
It's true. If they're not paying your rent, you don't pay them attention. That's really great advice for middle schoolers. Unfortunately, in the game that we play, which is very similar to middle school social tactics, we do have to pay attention to it. Because if someone's shopping around bad things to say about you, that means there's not really bad things to say about you. They have to go test what sounds worst because it's just not real. People want to get foolish, they can get foolish. What is it? The Mark Twain quote, never wrestle with a pig because you'll get dirty and they'll like it. Not saying that is our strategy in communications, but it is good advice. How do you think we should handle this, you know, from a political standpoint, that your opponent is literally poll testing negative and untrue things about you?
I think as a campaign, I think we've said it before, but we're new to this. We've never run a campaign before. We just know how to run our lives, and we know how to run our lives with integrity. So things are going to be said that we cannot control. How we combat that is with reputation and work ethic. You know, people were out there in the community. I've taught in this community for 15 years now. I've lived in this community for 26 years now. People who know me or know of me know that that's not true.
Integrity is a big deal. You know, politics is disgusting, and the more money you have in politics, it's easier to be disgusting. Thankfully, we don't have tons of money, so we're not too tempted to be disgusting when it comes to communications and dealing with opposition.
The hard work that we've done on the ground, people know that I'm out there weekly, almost daily in the community having conversations. putting a face behind the name, and they know that those things being said are just not true. So once you know me, you know that's not true.
Yeah, the long game is being in the community, being present, and doing it over a persistent amount of time. You've been doing it, one, for 15 years as a teacher, but also on the campaign trail, you've been doing it for 9 months now. And a pattern of behavior is a lot stronger than a simple word fight. If I had any unsolicited advice to our opponent, I would say get out of the ballrooms and get onto the streets and start talking to your neighbors, because that's where real politics is.
And it's not easy. Somebody asked me the other day and they said, "How are you doing this? Are you not tired?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely. I am tired." I said, "But every time I hear of a story of a family that can't make ends meet, every time I hear a story of a kid that's not getting the education that they want, that's not okay." So my tiredness is temporary. I'll catch a nap, I'll sleep, and when I can later on down the road, that's why I'm in this. That's why I'm doing it. It's worth it.
Okay, this looks like another good spot for us to take a break. So we're going to catch our breath and we will be right back. And we are back with Show Your Work with Angie Caraway. Okay, Ange, let's pivot over. We got to talk about data centers. This is a big deal. And I know you have been talking to voters about data centers. So what have you been hearing from the voters in Collin County?
I've been asked, do we have them? Because they're so quietly being built and so rapidly being built that there's a lot of people that don't even know if they are in 89, and they absolutely are. I've been to city council meetings in Princeton City Council where they were talked about briefly, and the overwhelming, it was very, very clear that they did not want a data center in Princeton. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Data centers are a hugely uniting issue in America right now, especially in Texas. I want to quickly shout out Clayton Tucker, who's running for ag commissioner in Texas, who has been such a strong vocal opponent to data centers and how they're treating our natural resources in the state. It's really impressive how he's handled that and how he's finding it so hard, because it is definitely in his backyard.
Yeah, the right likes to pin, the Democrats that we hate business, and that's not the case. Like, I am all for small businesses. They are absolutely the backbones of our communities. But when we're talking about data centers, it takes so many people to actually build those data centers. But once they're built, they hire so few people. It's not helping our economy.
Like, we've had them for a long time, but this massive surge in data centers, and to be clear, it is massive, especially in places like Texas, because of what Governor Abbott invited into Texas. The community is not liking it. The people are not liking it. The elected officials need to listen, figure out what the concerns are, and address them. Like, we can't just say, "Hey, shut up, be quiet. We're going to keep building our big business the way we build our big business." Not when it's keeping people from sleeping at night, not when it's drying up their water, not when it's polluting their air. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a quick pivot over to something a little more local. And by local, I mean extremely local to you. You wanted to give a quick shout out to your stepson, Chris. What kind of news do we have from Chris?
So our stepson, Chris, proposed to his girlfriend last Christmas, and they have finally set a date. So they are going to get married here in town, October 2027.
Awesome. That is super cool.
Yeah.
I am very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a first-time marriage for both of them, and they're in their 40s, so it's pretty special. They actually went to high school together. So this is just one of those, just makes me feel good. It's a feel-good story. I'm happy they found each other.
Big support for first-time marriages in the 40s. Big support. That's everyone should chill on getting married at 19, please. That's not official campaign messaging, but I just hot take. I think just chill for a little bit, guys. Just relax. As we are approaching the end of our episode here, Ange, are there any upcoming events that you think we need to be promoting right now?
Yes. So this Friday, we have coming up the launch of the Allen Democrats. We have not had a Democratic club in quite some time, and really excited to have that support here in Allen. It's much needed, and I think they're doing a bang up job of getting it together so far. So that's Friday evening.
Yeah, let me second that. I'll point out, just from observing their rollout of this, it's been really intentional. It's been really smart. It's been really disciplined. I really like what I'm seeing coming out of that. I'm looking forward to hearing feedback on that launch party Friday night.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And then Saturday, I have a Muslim caucus meeting that I'm going to, and a combined block walk, and then more block walking Sunday. Walk, walk, walk.
Always be block walking. That's what we say.
Always be block walking.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of our episode here. I would like to encourage everyone to follow us on our socials, please. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course on our new YouTube page where you can find this podcast. Please like and subscribe. But more importantly, if I can ask one thing of listeners, please share this with someone.
Yes.
The whole intention of starting this podcast was to make sure that Angie could reach as many voters as possible in HD 89. So they can get to know her, they can learn her, they can understand more of the human that's trying to do this for their community. So please share it with somebody who hasn't heard of Angie yet, and especially if they live in district, that would be really fantastic. Okay, Angie, we will wrap it up there. I will talk to you later.
All right, sounds good. Bye.
All right, bye.